So as you know, this past month, we've been looking at the power of will. And the theme is, I am willing. And when we looked on the Unity website, looking up will, just to see what they had to say, they had a focus by Linda Martello Whitsett that many of you know through your book groups because you've read one of her books, or maybe more, I'm not sure. And anyway, her focus for will was, I use my power of will to choose, to connect, to be willing. And as you know, we are always choosing, even when we're not conscious of it. And that's where the challenge is, and that's where the opportunity this month is there's an opportunity just because we're focusing on it in this busy life and busy world to think about our unconscious choices, the choices that I make just because I'm lazy, just because I have habits that I don't look at, because I'm sort of semi-depressed and sort of go through life with attitudes of depression. None of these are wrong, but of course we end up experiencing the consequences. So this is where this is an opportunity to look at what am I thinking and feeling right now in this very moment? What am I feeling when I'm in my relationship or with one of you? Our speakers have addressed some possible choices. Last week, Michael Panique talked about being aware of three choices, three focuses, that when he incorporates it into his day, into his way of approaching his relationships, his family, that he finds that his life becomes gentler, a little more peaceful. And I was really quite impressed with that. And then also Susan Gum at the beginning of the month. She used some very interesting images for us to encourage us to maybe look at how we perceive certain kinds of things. And do we want to reevaluate the kinds of choices we make? And I just bring that up because it's always available to us to look up. You know, on our website, the talks are always there. On YouTube, they're there. So, you know, sometimes things go too quickly and it's hard to really digest it here. So when there's things that feel like something kind of flares inside of you and you think, maybe I need to spend some time with that, it's very easy. We have that available. So we've all made choices this morning, many choices. And a series of those choices got us here. We made the choice to be here. And there's many reasons why we're here. But why is it important to spend time visiting the spiritual reality of who we are? Because it's about who we are, and it's about what God is. And there's real consequences to us and to our experiences based on our understandings. Now, I always bring up mystics here when I talk, and I always try to bring in a couple things that they've said. And the reason I do that is because Unity has been very blessed, I feel, to have very powerful focuses. And really, the main focus in Unity is what? That there's only one. There's only one power, and that we're a part of that. And that's really basically the underlying focus of all mystics. And so it was interesting to see that Unity had that, because it's very easy to start to get sidetracked in one's spiritual evaluations and pursuits. You can really get off in different directions. But with that kind of a focus, it always keeps bringing us back to the center of the truth of who you and I are. And I use mystics because they are sharing with you and us from inner experience. And I'm not talking about just beings that had mystical experiences. I'm taking basically things from those who live and have their being in the consciousness within. And they come like Jesus. They come with the intent not to start religions or a fan base, but just to tell you and I who we are. They don't care about how many likes they have. They're just here to tell us from their experience something that is very, very difficult for us to know unless we've been graced with an experience of some kind that maybe catches our attention and sort of makes us think, maybe there's more to this than I realize or that I was thinking. And also is to encourage us to start to nurture that part, because it needs to be nurtured, it needs to be fed. That's what we emphasize a lot of times at Christmas here, that celebration was about us, that a being came to tell us the truth of who we are, and they were wanting us to learn that truth and to operate from that truth. Also, they want us to know that even though we experience our life as a body, that's a very limiting experience of who we are, that we're far more than a body. There was that quote in the Daily Word about the spirit within that knows. And when we think we're just a body, what we end up doing is we end up experiencing ourselves as separate. Separate from each other, because you have a different body than I do, it looks like. Separate from our needs, separate from our well-being, separate from love, you name it. Wherever we have pain, there's separation. There's the belief that we are separate, that we're only a body. And so the reason why it's so important is because while we limit ourselves to that perception, we are always going to be suffering. We're always going to be in some form of pain. And we try to get rid of that pain, don't we, by doing things in the outer with bodies. But that's very, very limiting. And I'll go into that a little more in a minute. Other opportunities here, too, is that within this building, this is a symbol of moving inwards, symbol that your truth and your focus needs to also be moving inwards as well as outwards. And so we come within here and we practice together, nurturing through prayer, through affirmations, through focuses, the truth of who we are. We start to practice together. And there's a benefit there because instead of doing it alone, we get the shared energy of each other. And that moves us along much, much quicker and much, much deeper than we can do on our own. And then we're able to take that, and we can take that into our daily lives and use that energy during the week to nurture, also take a moment to nurture the truth of who we are, that we are spiritual beings. So we're always choosing, always. We're always making choices. So if there is only God, well, actually, I didn't read what the mystics said about that. You know, the mystics said that God is love, and that love is God. This is in the eternal love, not just the love of passions. And they said that we are a part. We are a part of that God. We are a particle of that God. We are created in its likeness and its image, we are told. We are created as love by love. So life would be really easy, right? That's all we got to do. Just do anything that's love. But there's a glitch. And the part of the glitch is, trying to put it simply, we are of two minds. Some systems will speak about that. And they'll say one mind is what we call the ego. Now we talk about ego in two ways. There's ego in terms of a healthy self-concept. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the ego as a definition of the perception or the belief in separation. The physical world, as we experience it, seems infinite, but it isn't. And it operates on laws of opposites, plus and minus, electricity, all these things, various polarities. We have right and wrong, lightness and darkness, up and down. It's infinite, all these opposites. But that's a very limited reality, we are told by the mystics. And in fact, they even have different kinds of definitions for that. And they say that to limit ourselves to that reality, that physical reality, that reality that thinks we're a body, and our body is a symbol. Everything is a symbol. Our body is a symbol of separation. It's a symbol that we think we're separate from the one, from each other. And so the mind of the ego, that mind that thinks we're all separate, that's one mind. The other mind they talk about the mind of love, the mind that knows the truth of who we are, that's within us. Some places call it the Holy Spirit, the wholeness of spirit. It's really who we are. We really are the Christ. But we're just not conscious or aware of it. We're not living from that reality. Right now we're in the process of opening ourselves to that truth. The challenge is that the intellect, our thinking mind that allows us to be able to operate and work in this world that runs on the laws of polarities, it is not able to access the truth of who we are. And we're so used to trying to problem solve with the intellect, with that left hemisphere, that part of the larger mind. But we can't get at the truth of who we are, because that's a part of that ecosystem that thinks it's separate. But we're not left stuck. It's just that there's sort of a temptation to make that choice. So we come here and we do prayer, and at home we read, we do things to remind ourselves so that we can make a different choice. When I'm experiencing fear, when I'm sitting with a person that I care about and all of a sudden I don't want to be with them, I'm feeling pain, I can turn to that presence that's within me. I can turn to that right mind, as it's sometimes referred to, that mind that knows my truth, that is one with God. And it will show me how to experience that situation in that moment from its perspective, from its truth, from its understanding. And it just takes a second. No one even has to know. You can be sitting there and all of a sudden feeling that, oh my God, this feels horrible, or I just want to be somewhere else. And you can just, in your own mind, without them knowing, you can say, no, I want to make another choice here. This is not the truth. I can barely remember, but I remember hearing that this is not the truth. I remember hearing that I'm love, that's all I am. And so I could say, I don't want this. I don't want to be right in this situation. I don't want to be in control in this situation. I want love. I want to experience through you, Lord. I want to experience through your eyes of oneness and love. That's all we need to do. And we need to practice, we need to experiment, you need to play with it. Anytime something that is not feeling like love that is not feeling like joy, that is not feeling like peace, in that moment, that's a flag. Stop. You can make another choice. You can make another choice. There's never a moment when you are separate from the oneness. Never. No matter what is going on, no matter how horrific the ego creates a reality, a picture of a reality outside of us, no matter how horrific and how dreadful it looks, we have never been separate from the oneness and from the love and from the truth of who we are. Never. Let me read. The Lord is, this is from a mystic, the Lord is never unmindful of us even for a moment. It is always looking after us. So even though we are living in this reality that's created by the ego, that's created by a belief in separation, that's not the Lord. But the Lord, the love, is always connected to us. We have never been separated from Him, from the love, from the oneness. It is always with us, always pervades our entire being. And so I was reading, there was a couple named the Jampolskys, and they, one of the focuses they have is the idea that we can always make another choice. And Jerry was writing about, he listed all these horrific kind of possibilities that we could experience. And they were going through some of them themselves. But he said, the one thing that I'm absolutely sure of is that God has never abandoned me. Instead, I have abandoned God. I have abandoned the truth of my oneness. And I can always choose again. That connection is always there. It's always there for us to ask. Jeff's song was so appropriate. Jeff's songs are so powerful. And they're such focus. I'll be there. I am there. No matter what those situations are. Even though economies are collapsing, even though we're threatened by people that are locked into the separation and fear. Still, I'll be there, I am there, always. Love is one. It leads us. It's always leading us. There's only one religion in this world. It's the religion of love. This is from a mystic. Love of the soul for its origin, for its father, for its source. That is the journey of every single being on this planet. No matter what they look like, no matter what their belief systems are, no matter what idols they hold to represent what they think God is. We all are the same. We are all on that same journey. And that love is in pain as long as it's split. As long as it's split from its oneness. And so that's what we're here to support each other in. But love doesn't force. Love is gentle. Love needs our permission to act in us, to act in our lives. We need to give it permission. We can't just say, well, I want this to happen. We need to say, no, I need to be changed. I want to see this differently. And with that permission, that will happen. It will happen effortlessly with no work, no knowledge, no education. It's just there. We always have the power to choose. We have the power to choose our truth. The truth that we are love, that there is only one, and you and I are a part of that oneness, that we've never been separate, and no being has ever been separate. They may think they are, so we can hold that truth for them, so that they may know that, and that we may know that about ourselves. Thank you. Amen. So now I'm going to do is let's just take a moment to be in the silence. You remember that suggestion, be still and know that I am God. The intellect is always moving, it's always trying to figure, it's always trying to solve. It's operating from fear. And so we need to practice of setting that aside for a moment so that we can start to open ourselves to the presence that's within us, that oneness, that love, that presence of God that we are told is always there, that is never separate from us for even a moment. So, in whatever way you're comfortable, just breathe. Allow ourselves to come into our hearts, into the present moment. Breathing and just allowing that heart to relax. Knowing that since we are love, this is a way to start to open and access that way to our truth. We are always one. And so as we relax, let us relax and open to that oneness. That's beyond the world of appearances in this moment. Let us allow ourselves to feel and to be receptive. That we are one. That we are loved. And that we are love. And as we gently breathe outwards, this is a reminder, a symbol that we can let go. That something sustains us without our intellect. As we relax and breathe out, we're reminded, yes, I can let go. I can let go of the beliefs that are in me, that I'm separate from you, that I could ever be separate from love, that I could ever be separate from any need that may arise within me. We relax and we open. We ask for what we need. We ask to be able to open to the truth, to the love, to the oneness, to the peace in any moment, to the light in any moment, to the gentleness in any moment, to our wholeness. We are whole. We are love. Love never attacks love. Love never attacks itself. And so places where we've been harsh with ourselves, places in our being where we think we need to suffer because we're not good enough, places in our life where we think we need to suffer because deep down in the belief of separation there is shame. Let us invite our truth to show us how to bring love and wholeness to all those places. And many of them are reflected to us in the outer world. So let us bring love. Let us bring trust. Let us bring compassion for those brothers and sisters who are really ourselves, who at one time were little babies, who at one time we could see how precious they were. Let us hold them and love them in the truth of love and oneness. And so we continue to breathe and relax and gently open. Open back, knowing that whatever our eyes see, that is not really the truth. That within that illusion of separation and bodies, we are love, we are one, we are safe. Amen. So, thank you for being with me in all of this. Thank you. And thanks all of you on Zoom and all of you who are here in support. So, Jeff's song took that last line from the prayer of protection. So let's do the prayer of protection right now. And let's just hold ourselves. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.